A small bag like this is always handy to take along when you go to have coffee with a friend or just into town or whatever. This one's really quick to make in chunky yarn, and it's just the right size for your phone or wallet or whatever, sunglasses, little things like that there. The handlebars are part of the body, so that also speeds you up. No separate strap to make. This feels really soft and nice. The yarn I've used is Alice Veluto. It's this chenille type furry yarn. There are other ones that are very similar, like one that I see people using a lot that I have never seen here in Finland. It's called Bernard Blanket. That would be ideal for this as well. But you could also use any kind of chunky yarn. So let's make one. You need 200-gram balls of super chunky yarn, and you need a large crochet hook. Mine is 8 millimeter, and then you also need a smaller hook for weaving in the yarn ends. This kind of yarn is not ideal for trying to weave in using a needle. And then you need scissors or clippers. We start off by chaining 24. So make a slip knot and chain 24. Here I have 24, and then starting with the second chain from the hook, single crochets, and I'm using American crochet terms. Very simply, a single crochet in each chain. And keep going until the end of your chain. By the way, remember that if a video is too fast or too slow, it's very easy to slow it down or speed it up in the video settings. So that's 23 single crochets. Most of the time with single crochets back and forth, you would chain one in turning. But here I'm not chaining because that gives us a sort of a crisper and a stronger edge. So just turn, no chain, and continue single crochets taking both loops on the hook. Single crochets the whole time. This yarn feels so nice to hold on to, and soft, furry. When you come to the other end, it's a little bit difficult, can be when we don't have the chain there to get the stitch there. So here, and again, just turn and make sure you always start in the first stitch, so that right through you will always have 23 stitches on a row. So this row still, and then on the next row we'll make the hole for the handle. So that was the third row, and then turn and 6 single crochets in the beginning. Five, and make the 6th one fairly tight, a bit tighter than normal, because now we're starting the hole there so that it doesn't sort of stretch here. And now chain 11, chain 11, 11, and then skip 11. So from here count 11, that's 11, and then on the 12th one, again a fairly tight single crochet there. So now we have that there whole, and then finish off the rest of the row . Then turn and crochet normally up to the chain, these 6. And then what we do, we need 11 single crochets in there where there's 11 chains, but I'm not going to insert the hook into the stitches, instead just going round them. So doing single crochets into the loop. "11 single crochets like this here, round it. Here, and if they are not completely even, then you can move them about a bit, since they are not inserted anywhere at all. And then finish off this row normally. And now what we're going to do is just continue going back and forth, single crochets, always having the 23 stitches until we get to where the bottom bit of the bag is. I have 17 rows here, but you can do it slightly longer too, or even shorter if you prefer. And when you come to this part that we made this hole for, you just continue crocheting normally across it. So just keep going until you get 17 rows. Here, and for the base of the bag, we want to differentiate it a bit, so we'll have these 2 lines there next. And we do that in a very simple way. Instead of inserting the hook through both of the loops, we only insert it through the back loop for 1 row here. So otherwise, just the same, but you only take the back loop of the stitch on the previous row. So 1 row like this here. Here's that. And then go back and forth just the normal way before we need to do that again. So back and forth once. So here, and now we need to have this here sort of a ridge on the same side. So now that we continue, it's in here. So here I need to take the front loop only for the next row. So front loop only. This one will show slightly less, but it will show here. And then we'll do the other side. So now we have done this and that, and we are here. So now we need to do this other bit until where we make the hole for the handle again. So these 17 rows. 17 rows back and forth. I decided to come and crochet in the Rose Park because the weather is so lovely. Here now, this is the same length as the other side, and here's the base bit of it. So what we're going to do now is the reverse of what we did in the beginning. 6 single crochets, chain 11 and skip 11 and 6 single crochets. So exactly the same what we did earlier there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again the 6th one fairly tight there, and then chain 11. And skip 11. Twelfth is here, and a tight single crochet, and then finishing of the row. First these single crochets and then 11 single crochets, so that you go round this here chain every time until the end. Here, so there's 11 stitches here, single crochets. And then to finish off this main piece, just go back and forth once, so 2 more rows, and then you can cut the yarn. There, so these bits are done now, but this here isn't. And when we look at this one that's finished, we need an extra piece here. And we'll start in here. So now check that you are on the right hand side, so that these here that are sticking out a little bit here, that they are on top. And we'll start crocheting back and forth here. So take the hook back again and insert it right next to where you have these half stitches. And leave enough of a tail. What I normally do in a situation like this, I always pull the first stitch through using both of the yarns, so it sort of makes it sturdier, and then leave the other one off. And then another stitch actually in that same place, so that we'll get 5 single crochets here. So there's 2 now, and 3, 4, and under that one, oh, that's the yarn end there. So altogether 5 stitches here. And what we do, we just go back and forth on these 5 stitches here, turn like before, and again no chaining for turning, and every row 5 stitches. 3, it's hard to find it in here now, 4, and to pull it out a bit, 5, and then turn again, and so on. So what you need here is the same amount of rows as in here, 20 rows. So you go back and forth until it's 20 rows, and it will be as long as this here bit here. So this is the length, will go like that there. And then it's the same thing exactly on the other side, the same kind of a piece there. Now I have both of these pieces done that will go on the side of it, and then we need to attach them. I didn't actually cut the yarn of the second side piece, because that will save me weaving in one yarn end. So then check that you are on the right hand side here, and put it together. It depends now which side you are on. So either you will start like this here, or like this here. It doesn't matter. It looks slightly different depending on which way you do it, but it doesn't matter. Both are okay. So set them next to each other. I'm not actually using any pins. If you prefer, then you could use safety pins or big pins to make sure it stays together. And there's this one yarn end, so I'm going to leave it inside my stitches. And then, now if you have already cut it, then just take a new yarn and start with that. No problem. So insert the hook into the other side, and then that side as well, and make a stitch. Here also we are using just single crochets to crochet this together. So wherever there's the next gap in the next space in the stitches, so you always insert the hook through both, and like this here. And keep checking that you are taking the same amount of stitches from both sides. Next here and there. So like this. Continue until you get to where this here bit ends. I got this first bit done, and now I am here at the bottom of it, and then we'll need to go up the other way, but also make some stitches here at the bottom. This is the side bit, and just take a yarn from somewhere here at the bottom to make it look the same, and single crochets there too. The next one, can't get it in there. And then here. And one more. There, now it's like that round. And then put these two together, the other side, and crochet that up there the same way as on the other side. Like that there. And then just the other side exactly the same. And when you're finished with this second side, don't cut the yarn yet, because we are still going to have one round of crochet here to strengthen the top of it a bit. That's that side. So now the actual bag looks like a bag. And after we finish the last round, I'll show how I like to weave in the ends using a smaller crochet hook. Now you have two different types of edges here, because this here is the starting chain, and then this is where we finished. Yours might be the other way around. What we do to finish off is a round of slip stitches. Where you have the starting chain, just go under that and a slip stitch into each stitch. And then where you have the stitches of the last row, go under both of the loops. And the same in here. So one stitch into each stitch, right round. Here we are. That's both sides. And then the only thing is to finish off all the yarn ends. I'll start with this here one. And I have a smaller hook now. It needs to be big enough that you can catch the yarn. This is 4 millimeter. So simply go under the stitches here and there. And it's worth once at least or more going around the same place, so that it's almost like a knot there, but still not hard, and so on. So like that with all the yarn ends. And here's our bag, ready to be used. Check out also this other bag that's quick and easy to make, and that has been very popular on my channel.